As he said, I'm Keziah. I'm the intern, and I'm pretty cool, I think. I think you guys think I'm cool, right? Like maybe like 99.7% of you. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get right on with this. So, who here likes being invited to things? Like whether it's to like, you know, well, yeah, okay, yeah, just to go do stuff. Like even if it's, not really something you want to do, just the thought that they invited you. Or maybe you can't even go, but you still wanted them to invite you. I felt like that before. I don't know about you guys. But anyway, my point is, it's great to be invited to things, isn't it? Whether it's an invite to hang out with a friend or play Xbox after school, go shopping, sit with someone at lunch, make TikToks together, go to a party. All of us appreciate it when someone else makes the effort to invite us to something. Now, for all of the invitations in life that you've said yes to, consider, what made you say yes? What made you decide that this was something you wanted to attend? There's probably a whole bunch of potential reasons. Maybe you said yes because you thought you would enjoy going. You thought that you might actually have a good time. Or maybe you said yes out of guilt. You didn't really want to go, but you felt really bad saying no, that you just told them, yeah, I want to go. Has anyone done that before? It's fine. You guys don't have to raise your hands. I know all of you done it, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, you just assumed that you would have a terrible time, and you spent the entire time that you were hanging out checking your phone and counting the minutes until you left. But even though you knew that was going to happen, you still said yes because you didn't want to say. You were just curious. Whether it was a new restaurant or a new movie or just something that you've always wanted to do, you're just genuinely interested in what would happen. And there's probably a dozen other reasons why you said yes to an invitation. But I think the most common reason we say yes to an invitation is because of who asked us. Am I right? There's people in your life, people at school or on your team, maybe even here at church, who could invite you to the most amazing concert. Like, I don't know, what are you guys into? Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes, Harry Styles? What do guys like? Jack Bryan? Zach Bryan, sorry. I'm not a country person. But anyway, they could invite you to that concert, and you would still be like, yeah, let me check my schedule. Or like, sorry, I got homework, got a test. But there are also people you love hanging out with, or you'd love to start hanging out with. And if they asked you to watch paint dry, you'd be like, sounds great, what time? Has anyone ever done that? How's that? Is watching paint dry fun? It's fun? All right. Cool. I didn't know that. But now you know. But yeah, all of us know that when it comes to an invitation, the who can be so much more important than the what. Now, this idea is important because as Christians, we are encouraged to invite people all the time. We're told to invite them to church, to youth group, or life group as we call it now, to camp, and to invite people into a relationship with Jesus. But when it comes to inviting other people to move closer to Jesus, not everyone feels excited about the idea. No, don't get me wrong, some people love inviting others. They can't wait to talk about Jesus with anyone who will listen. They're completely bold when it comes to extending invitations for others to follow him. But for others, or maybe even most of us, makes us sick to think about it. Most of us would rather do anything else than invite people to church. We're afraid that we won't know what to say, or that we won't have all the answers, or that we won't know what to do if we end up in a conversation about faith. After all, we probably know the person that talks about their faith and makes it awkward for everyone else. We don't want to be that person. You don't want to go up to someone at school and be like, hey, want to talk about Jesus? Michael wants to talk about Jesus, that's cool. But I'm sure a lot of people at school don't, sadly. So yeah, we don't want to be that person. And there's this whole issue of how even to begin the conversation. If you have any of those fears, it's totally valid and normal, and I'm sure 99.99% of us can relate. There are definitely some ways to extend an invitation that are better than others. You guys might not know this, but Christians have tried literally everything to invite people to get to know Jesus. We bought billboards and put bumper stickers on our cars, I love Jesus, or, the classic, honk if you love Jesus. Has anyone ever seen those stickers? I've never seen one, believe it or not. Nice. All right. We've made brochures that explain people's need for Jesus and handed them out to strangers. Actually, that happened in my school one time. We put invitations on shoes, bracelets, breath mints, fake $100 bills. Those should be illegal, by the way. I think those should be illegal. I don't like those. And almost anything else you can imagine. And although our intentions were good, because we simply wanted other people to get closer to Jesus, it doesn't mean those methods were always effective. And yes, sometimes those methods can work, but other times they can just scare people away from faith. That's why today I want to talk about a better way, a less awkward, less scary, and more effective way to share your faith. It goes like this. If we want people to say yes to an invitation to follow Jesus, then we need to be the type of people that others will say yes to. Like we said earlier, oftentimes the reason why we say yes to an invitation is because of who asked us. The person who asked you is the type of person you want to say yes to. I want to be the type of person that others are more likely to say yes to when I invite them to chase after Jesus, and I want that for you guys too. To talk more about that, I want to look at an account from the Gospel of John. John was a guy who literally walked with Jesus. And years later, he decided to write down everything he remembered from that time. If you read the Gospels, not just John's, but the others as well, you'll see a phrase that comes up over and over and over again. When people tried to describe how great Jesus was, how amazing his teachings were, or how incredible his actions were, they found themselves struggling to explain it well. So they just ended up saying, "Come and see." Meaning, I can't tell you everything you need to know, and I don't have the answers to all your questions. You're just going to have to check them out for yourself. The people who loved Jesus were constantly extending invitations to others because of what they experienced. We're going to look at a time where John remembers Jesus inviting specific people to follow him and be his disciples. And one of those people was Philip. Jesus invited Philip to follow him. And once Philip experienced Jesus, he started inviting others to follow Jesus as well. See, it's like a, domino effect. There you go. And in this passage we're about to look at, we see exactly how Philip chose to invite Nathanael to follow Jesus. So, I feel like people are visual or kinetic or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different ways to learn. So, anyway, about that. Who hasn't eaten today? Just someone raise your hand. All of you guys haven't eaten today? You guys haven't eaten? You guys are very bad. All right. Wait, keep your hands up. I want to know who hasn't eaten. Okay. How about you back there? Come on up here. You're up here. Cool. Can I get your name? Sorry. Brandon. Sorry, I'm so hard of hearing. All right. Hi, Brandon. How you doing? I'm good, thank you. Why didn't you eat? I'm just kidding. So, we know you haven't eaten, and a lot of you haven't eaten either, but so let me just talk about this really quick. Have you ever had a mini Oreo cheesecake? No? It's the best. They're so good. I can never only have one of them. The flavor is immaculate. The cream cheese is just so smooth, and it isn't too overwhelming. I know some people don't like cream cheese, but it's just cheesecake, but whatever. And anything Oreo is delicious, You like Oreos? Not bad? Okay, he doesn't like them that much. Where's the Oreo lovers at? Come on. Oreo flavored anything? Yeah. You guys are big brains. But yeah, just Oreo cheesecake, the mini version, just beautiful. I love it so much. Now imagine a regular sized version, just like how big is a regular cheesecake? That big. Amazing. I'd literally be in heaven. Don't you wish you had a cheesecake, a mini Oreo cheesecake? You prefer strawberry? Well, too bad, buddy. We don't get to pick and choose in this world. Have a mini Oreo cheesecake. You are very welcome. You can eat that in front of your friends and make them suffer because they don't have one. Or if you really don't want it, you can give it to someone else that hasn't eaten. But yeah, thank you. You can get off the stage now. Let's give it up for Brandon, guys. Very good participant. So whenever it's Brandon's birthday, make sure to give him strawberry cheesecake. I'll keep that in mind. So yeah, basically what we saw right there, it's better to experience something than just explaining it. So in this passage, John 1, verse 45 through 46, it's going to be up on the Sky Bible. Everyone calls it Sky Bible, but I just prefer to shorten it. So you guys can follow along. Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." "Nazareth? Can anything good come from there?" Nathanael asked. "Come and see," said Philip. In other words, Philip wasn't able to explain everything he had seen or heard. So instead, he simply invited Nathanael to go see for himself. Because Philip knew something. When it comes to Jesus, experiencing is more effective than explaining. There's like 3 words with starting the letter E. I just noticed that. What is that, alliteration? Yeah. There was something unique in seeing Jesus, hearing him, and just being in his presence that was so unexplainable. Others just had to come and see it for themselves. So, you know what Nathanael does? What does he do, guys? What do you think Nathanael did? He goes? You're smart, Stephen. He did go. He says yes. Philip extends an invitation, and without knowing much about Jesus at all, Nathanael decides to follow along. Why? Why did Nathanael decide to go and see Jesus when he barely knew anything about him? All he knew is what Philip told him. I think a lot of it had to do with the kind of person that Philip was. Nathanael might not have known Jesus yet, but he knew and trusted Philip, so he followed along. And when it comes to how we offer invitations for others to follow, who we are and how we treat the people we're inviting, it all matters. See, Philip just didn't put up a clever billboard or give Nathanael a fake dollar bill with a sermon on the back. Most likely because those didn't exist back then, but you guys get my point. Philip also didn't stand on a corner with a megaphone and try to catch Nathanael's attention. No, Philip was just a friend that Nathanael could trust. So when he told him to come and see, Nathanael did just that. In other words, the best way to influence others to say yes to your invitations to chase after Jesus is to live in a way that other people want to chase what you're chasing. So just ask yourself, do people see your life and think, "Oh man, I really wish I could be more like that"? Are you considered trustworthy by the people closest to you? Are you the kind of person that younger people look up to you? You know, maybe you have a younger sibling. Are you mean to them all the time, or are you like kind of chill with them, you know? Do you treat the people so well that they feel better just hanging around you? Do you exude the good vibes, man? I love that word. I love the word vibes. It's funny. Do you look out for people? Are you always there for them when they need you? Do you treat people with respect even when they don't respect you? I know that one's a hard one for a lot of us. I'm still working on that. But those are just the sorts of things that make people curious about why you're different. In the most famous sermon Jesus ever preached in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus said that you and I are the salt of the earth. In other words, our lives should operate like salt. And what does salt do? How does it work? It flavors things, preserves things, makes things taste even better. You know what makes Doritos delicious? I know last sermon they said cheese, and that's very true. Among other things, salt. The secret ingredient in chocolate chip cookies? No kidding. They're better with a sprinkle of salt. That cheesecake I just gave to Brandon over there, 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Even just a tiny bit of salt makes everything, nearly everything better. And Jesus is saying the same is true for you. The world around you should be a better and more enjoyable place because you are there. Your family should be more enjoyable because you're in it. Your school and neighborhood should be better places because you're there. Your friends should be better people because you're in their life. And if you're a Christian, every environment you're in should be better, more seasoned and flavored, and more enjoyable because you're there. Why? Because you carry the Spirit of Jesus with you. He makes you better, and you make the world around you better. That's how it works, and that's the T. Not only that, there should also be a noticeable absence when you aren't there. Just like some people notice if there isn't enough salt on their fries because it tastes bland and disgusting. Actually, is there anyone that likes saltless fries? I thought so. There should be a noticeable difference if Christians aren't around. Culture should be saying all the time, oh man, I wish the Christians were here. Everything is so much better when the Jesus followers are around. Kind of sounds weird, but like, you guys get what I mean. And yeah, maybe being salt, just the idea of being the salt sounds ridiculous, but this is what Jesus was talking about when he said that we are to be the salt of the earth. It's what Jesus did in the environments he was in. He brought life to the people around him. He made things better. Even the tax collectors, we talked about those last week. Y'all remember Levi? And he went and followed Jesus. But yeah, even the tax collectors and sinners and bad guys loved having Jesus around. People who were nothing like Jesus liked Jesus because of how he treated them. And we should be the same way. If we want to be people who get a yes response when we invite people to church, to small group, or for chasing Jesus, we have to be the kind of likable people others want to say yes to. Also, followers of Jesus should be the first people others think of when they're in need. When people are in a crisis and need help and comfort, people need to know that we will come alongside them and offer encouragement, hope, and grace. In order to invite others to follow Jesus, we have a responsibility to live in a way that makes Jesus look like he's worth following. In other words, if we want to invite others to a life with Jesus, we have to actually live like Jesus. You know, it's the whole thing of, what is that saying? The easier said than done. But yes, we gotta do it if we want people to come to a life like Jesus. Thank you. That's what makes us credible and what makes us reliable, what makes us trustworthy. Put simply, Christians should literally be the best helpers. We should be the ones our friends call and hear us say things like, oh, hey, let me share with you about what I've learned about forgiveness. Or, hey, Chloe, this is what I've discovered about accepting myself. Or, hey, Stephen, this is what Jesus has taught me about some mistakes I've made. Being this type of person shows others what Jesus is like. So when we extend an invitation to follow him, other people will understand what we mean. Hopefully people will trust us, and because they'll grow to trust what we say about Jesus. They've seen us chase Jesus for a while, and they understand what joining that kind of chase looks like. You know, you gotta pursue him. And also, the chase. It's not easy, but it's going to be worth it in the long run, I promise, guys. And I get it. You guys are probably thinking, Keziah, you're whack. Please get off the stage and never come back again. But yeah, I know what I'm saying. It's crazy. Sharing your faith, inviting others into this part of life can be scary. But it's important, and here's why. I think this is a fill in the blank too. Chasing Jesus means sharing him with them. I'll give you guys a minute to write that down. Actually, a couple seconds. It only takes like 10 seconds. Anyway, part of growing our own faith is living in a way that invites others into the story. And sharing Jesus with others starts by being likable and credible. It starts by caring about other people and treating them like Jesus would. And when we chase him this way, sharing becomes easier. It's something people around us are naturally curious about. And when we invite other people to go come and see, they're more likely to say yes because they've seen what chasing Jesus looks like for us. Can you imagine if the reputation of Christians in our culture that we really are the most likable and credible and trustworthy people around, that we bring joy and hope to the people around us? That'd be cool. I don't know about you guys, but I want a world like that. I think if we lived this way, people wouldn't be able to not notice. They'd pay attention. They'd lean in and ask, hey, why is your life this way? And in those moments when they ask why, it will be so much easier to share Jesus with them because they've seen us live it out day after day. In other words, by chasing Jesus, we were making it easier for others to do the same. And that is all I have. Thank you, guys. So I'm going to pray us out, and then there's going to be one more worship song afterwards. So, dear God, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for everyone that was able to make it. I feel like this is a message that all of us really needed to hear. And yeah, I just pray that these students will just be able to retain this into the back of their mind and just be able to live like you more and just be a light to others at school or work or their sports team. We love you so much, and in your name I pray, amen.